All right, got the key, door closed, ready to go? All right. You're fine, you're fine. Welcome, good morning, everybody. Today's meeting of the Flagler County Tourist Development Council, we will go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is January 15, 2025. It is 9 o'clock a.m. If everybody could please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. At this time, we'll take a brief moment of silence. At this time, we reflect and thank those in the military and our first responders who protect us afar and here at home. All right, thank you again. Welcome to our guests that are here today. If we could, we'll start on my far left and we'll do a roll call. Just please announce your attendance and your name and your affiliation. Thank you.
Lisa A. Robinson. I am the general manager of the Hampton Inn Suites at Palm Coast.
Good morning, Chairman. Stephen Baker, Director of Group Sales, Hammock Beach Resort.
Pam Walker, Walker Adventures.
I'm Andy Dance, the TDC Chair, County Commission Chair.
Eric Cooley, City of Flagler Beach.
John Lugerai, Oceanside Beach Bar and Grill.
Felicia Cook, Park Director at Marine Land Dolphin Adventure.
So it looks like we have Daniel Mundrine and our new TDC member, Teresa Pontieri, excused. So we have quorum. Also need to read into account at this time the conflicts of interest that were submitted at the last meeting. Item 4A1, Stephen Baker did not participate in the vote. Item 4A2, Stephen Baker did not participate in the vote. And then on item 4A3, Lisa Robinson did not participate in the vote. And item 4B1, Lisa Robinson and Nick Klufis did not participate in the vote. All right. For next on the agenda is consent. We have meeting minutes for October, financial reports, and quarterly marketing reports. Is there a motion to accept the consent?
Make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Cook, seconded by Ms. Walker. Is there any public comment on consent? All right, seeing none, we'll bring it back and call the vote. All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously. And we move quickly into our presentations and updates. And the first presentation is the Tourist Development Tax Update, and that is by Shelley Edmondson, our Flagler County Tax Collector. And again, congratulations. And you continue to get to present to us? All right.
All had the day off, I guess. Well, good morning, everybody. And yes, it's me. This may or may not be the only time you see me, though. I am going to try to get Amy, who's in our Amy, not your Amy.
Great. We need more Amy's.
I know,
Thanks.
I know. So you'll probably see a lot more of Amy from my office, but I'll still be here.
Okay.
So good morning. This is just one of my favorite slides. Just like to remind everybody, here's your 5 pennies and where they go. 3 of them go to promotions, the 1 to the beach restoration, and then 1 is for your capital projects. Here's just annually what those collections have what they've looked like over the years. We just wrapped up last fiscal year several months ago, and we collected just over the 4.3 million. Here's just your line graph trend. The yellow all the way to the left is this new fiscal year. So we're still following the same trend. We did end December higher, which was great. We'll go over those numbers in just a minute. Any questions about that? We just always like to see that we're still following the same trends, that the peaks and the valleys. Here's just the quarterly comparison where we were in 23 versus 24, and we were up 0.42%, which is still a positive. So we were excited about that. A little over $3,100. Here's what October looked like. We were under the previous year, but higher than, or still lower than 22, I guess, but within range. We weren't way off track. Same with November, that was slightly lower, but here's December, we had a significant increase, so that helped. So this was the December collection period, which was actually November's rentals. So if we think about what happened in November, I don't know, holidays, Thanksgivings, travel, the weather was still good. I don't know, maybe Amy could elaborate more, but we did real well in November. December collection, but in November. You know, there's not much we can talk about when it comes to tourist accounts and who they are and where they are and all the things, but we can tell you how many we have, and you can see the trend in that is it's growing. They come and they go. They're Airbnbs, you know, if significant structures being built, new hotels and that sort of thing, but all the in-betweens, you can see there's a significant increase in the comings and goings of those. It's also found in where we're able to break it down, single family, partial homes, multifamily, condos, RVs, hotels, that sort of thing. You can see where those counts are. So the 1,647 accounts, this is how they break down, and it's mostly single family homes. And here's where they are. The lion's share is obviously in unincorporated Flagler County, but then the city of Palm Coast, Flagler Beach, and then the rest of everybody else. And all of those numbers are up, with the exception of the last one. There was no change, but unincorporated, city of Palm Coast, and city of Flagler Beach, all of those numbers increased. Is there any questions about that?
Question.
Yep.
Because I've followed the city of Palm Coast work on their ordinance, and they have a whole coalition in the C section. Do you know where the majority of them are located? Do you break down that data into sections of Palm Coast to where they are? No.
We don't.
Okay.
We don't. I do know where they are. We don't have any data to
Okay.
provide exactly where they are in our tourist development module.
Okay.
Just the nature of tourist tax, we're just so limited on what we can provide.
Okay.
Enforcements, you guys, or the Board of County Commissioners, has entrusted us to do 3 things, and that's enforce, collect, and audit. And so our enforcement is basically just that. We're chasing down folks if they don't pay and making sure that they do. So we're doing tax warrants. We're putting notices on doors. We're sending certified letters. We're doing all the things to make sure that they're compliant. And here's a breakdown of what we're currently at this moment. We have 5 enforcement actions, 1 pending warrant. We're expecting them to pay. We did do 1 tax warrant, and we're currently investigating 10. I know you guys have seen this before. I was expecting to see maybe some new faces on the board, and I just wanted to go over it again, that we do have, as part of our enforcement and auditing, we have a third-party vendor that we pay for to find all of these folks that are advertising online. So this is the service that we use, and they do screenshot activity. So when people take their listings up and down, we're able to still see what they've done. Community outreach, that's one of the things that you guys entrusted us to do. So when we do community events, we're talking about it. We do put a slip in every tax bill every year. We have an anonymous reporter button on our website, and then we do display it. We have a large foot traffic that comes into our office, so we display it in each one of our offices as well, if they're doing a short-term rental to come talk to us. And then this is what our anonymous reporting button looks like on our website. In the last 90 days, we had 5 reportings, which is a little above average. Usually we see 1 to 2. And that's it. My name is Shelley Edmondson. I'm your new tax collector. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Edmondson?
No? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, thank you very
again,
much.
yep,
Good to see
congratulations.
each and every one of you. Thanks.
All right, we'll move on to the second item, and that's the annual fund 1111 Beach Renourishment Report and Update. Ms. Lukasik.
Thank you, Chair. As some of you may recall, we now give annual updates or get annual updates from various county departments on the beach fund in terms of projects and the expenditures that happen. So this is fiscal year 24's annual report, and I'm just going to go through the revenues and expenditures and then go through 2025. If you have any specific questions, we do have folks from the finance team. And then after I go through this, the coastal engineer will share overall beach project updates. So for fiscal year 24, we cash carry forward 1.2 million. We had 864,000 in revenue. The interest, 266,000, grants, 857,000, and those are grants that the county receives through various agencies. And then the other is excess fees, so those are the tax collector fees that are returned. And then for expenditures, operating expenses, those primarily have to do with Olson Engineering, who is the vendor that handles a lot of the technical work for the county. And they recently were bought out by Foth. And so going forward, what used to be called Olson, if you hear it in different meetings or people talking, it's now Foth. Our tax collector fees, which is the 3%, the interest, and then again, the grant expenditures that goes through other state agencies. And then part of the budget for fiscal year 24 was this fund also helped pay for half of a very high-tech drone, which helps monitor the beach erosion and any activity that's happened post-storms, and then reserves. And then for fiscal year 25, these are our projections. 880,000, we're pretty much going to remain flat. The interest, and then professional contracted services is that Olson/Foth engineering service, the bank fees, the tax collector fees, and capital, again, for the beach projects. And then the 37 million is not from us. Those are from, again, those state agencies where they go out, seek and get state and federal money.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So I'd like to bring up Ainsley, who has a presentation for you.
While Ainsley's coming up, just wanted to, if you hadn't heard about the county's drone program, we received a special FAA permit for line of sight so that they don't have to continually see the drone, but can go out miles. Received a Northeast Florida Regional Council Public Safety Award for recognizing that designation. I think we're the only one in Florida that has the designation, and it saves a ton of money in the fact that we don't have to go out to private entities to do that service, and then with the line of sight ability, we don't have to pick up and move. They can do it from one location. So stole some of your thunder. Were you going to talk about that?
No, that's good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so good morning.
Good morning.
Ainsley Wren Key. I am the Coastal Engineering Administrator here at Flagler County.
Could you speak into the microphone a little closer, please?
Sure. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So Ainsley Wren Key, Coastal Engineering Administrator. Good morning. I'm here to give you a update on the projects that we just completed and then what we're looking at this year. So what you're looking at here is a map showing different reaches along the beach. So if you look at the bottom, you'll see Reach 1 in green, Reach 2 in blue, Reach 3 in yellow, and Reach 4. And R101 is down at the Volusia Flagler County line, and R1 is up at the St. Johns County line. So we've got it oriented a little differently. As you can see, City of Flagler Beach is down in Reach 1. We just completed that federal project with the non-federal tapers. That went really well. And these different reaches are broken into these sections based on funding sources and environmental conditions. So Reach 1, we have some federal funding there. Like I said, the project went very well. I got a lot of good feedback from the Army Corps of Engineers when we were finishing up this project. They told me they had never seen a project completed that fast. So kudos to our contractor and the Army Corps and everyone that was on that team. Reach 2, environmentally, it's very similar to Reach 1. There's no hard bottom. So we are looking to do our next beach nourishment project there. I'll show you some more details in the next coming slides here, but just wanted to orient you with our beach management reaches here. Reach 3, we have some more complicated environmental conditions. We've got a lot of outcrop of hard bottom on the intertidal area, which is considered protected. So we do have to go through some more hurdles to get permitting to do beach nourishment in that area, which we're beginning now. And then Reach 4, as you guys know, there's a lot of rock on the beach, not as much room for sand. And so this is an area where we're going to do more truck haul dune restoration projects. Okay, so again, a little more detail. You guys are all very familiar with what just happened in the city of Flagler Beach. Like I said, the project went very well. We had federal funding. We placed approximately 1.7 million cubic yards of sand over 3.5 miles of the beach. We completed that sand placement at the end of August, right before Labor Day, which was great. And we are continuing to monitor, and we will also have plantings replaced because some of the plantings have died. They were actually planted after the growing season, and they're going to come back in March to replace some of those dead plants, which will be a lot better because they'll be able to grow and flourish over the next spring and summer. Reach 2. Okay, so moving up the coast, this is where we're working on the permitting. We've almost got our FDEP permit. They tell me it's coming in January 31st. So once we get the FDEP permit, we've got to work through the Army Corps of Engineers permitting and the BOEM lease agreement, but that should all be coming into place over the next few months. Once we get the permit, I think we'll be ready to move into construction and implementation. The cost of this project is similar to the Army Corps project. We have funding from FDEP and FEMA, and the cost of that is about $35 million, and we would like to start construction later this summer. And Reach 3, this is where we get into the more complicated permitting issues. We got permission by the board, county commissioners, to move forward with hiring Moffitt and Nickel as our consultant. We've already met with them, and we are continuing to scope out the project, and we'll be negotiating a contract with them in the next month. We think that the permitting and design will cost about $1.5 million. This funding will come from FDEP as well. And we do not receive any federal or state funding in this area because it's not considered critically eroded, and it doesn't meet the criteria for FDEP, but we, again, will be working on that too. All right, and so right now we are working with our consultant, Foth Olson. They have just completed the preliminary results of the FEMA Cat G sand losses from Hurricane Milton, and it looks like we are going to have a substantial project. we are looking at preliminary results of about 200,000 cubic yards of sand that we lost here in Milton between R65, which is right there at the city of Flagler Beach border, up to Marineland. So that's where we're going to be looking to replace the sand. Although because we have the dredge project in Reach 2, all the sand will be placed in Reaches 3 and 4. So we're looking to do a truck haul project as soon as that gets reviewed from FEMA, and we hope that will only take about 3 to 4 months, but realistically, it'll probably take 6 months, and then we can implement that project. So we'll be working on that this year as well. So FEMA would pay 87.5%, and we would pay 12.5% for that project, but I don't have a budget for that yet. So yes, moving forward, we have a lot coming up. Truck haul project, a dredge project, and we'll just be, diligently working away to improve our coastline and build the beaches back. And that's my update. Is there any questions?
Thank you.
Mhm.
Questions for Ansley?
Ansley, I have a question. Working at Hammock Beach, but I'm just wondering, for the Reach 3 project, do you know, is that going to be a truck haul because of the rocks that are
Right.
there? Is that reason for that?
Well, okay, so Reach 3, the complicated area, as you know, we would prefer to do a dredge project. So that is what we're going to be working towards for permitting.
Okay.
And if we had to do a truck haul, it would only be because the permitting agency said we couldn't do a dredge project.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Question over here, please.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Reach 4, you didn't have a slide on it telling the things.
Okay, yeah.
And
Right.
it kind of gets forgotten because it's 2.7 miles. But I do know that the seawall situation is pretty important to the town of Marineland. I had some people come out and look at it. I didn't hear anything after that, so just wondering.
The seawall and the revetment up around Marineland?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't, I haven't had any interaction or
Neither have I.
about the seawall.
Mhm.
So, yeah, maybe you and I can catch up on that later
Love
if
to.
there's some issues.
There are.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure. Yeah. Now, this truck haul project, I just want to elaborate, this would be in Reach 4 as well. So we're looking to
But
put
it's
some
just for
sand.
dunes.
Yeah, for dune reconstruction.
Yeah.
Starting at River to Sea and moving south.
If it starts at River to Sea, it totally misses Marineland.
Yes, that is correct. And FEMA will not put sand in front of the seawall. That is,
Okay.
yeah, it wouldn't qualify. Yeah.
Okay.
That's their guidelines.
Any other questions for Ansley? All right. Thank you very much for your
You're
report.
welcome. Okay, thanks.
Next on the agenda is the Flagler County Cultural Council Annual Update. And for that, we will have Miss Nancy Crouch, the chairman, come and present. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for your continued support in arts and culture in our community. We've been working hard the last couple of years, just getting ourselves organized as an organization. But we have made some tremendous roadways through. So who are we? Our mission has been changed to advocate, support, and foster collaboration in the arts and humanities of all the arts and culture and history in all of Flagler County. The FC3 board is comprised of members of the community representing arts, history, and culture. So we all have a stake in the game here. Who we are right now, I'm the second-term chair. Jay Shear is the vice chair. Danielle Anderson is secretary. Julia Trullo is treasurer. Denise Garcia, Peter Johnson, Lawson Glass-Green, Greg Feldman. We have one opening right now for history board member. BOCC appointees are Leanne Pennington and Pam Richardson, and Teresa Pontiera as the City of Palm Coast appointee. Our initiatives are a lot. We were designated by the Board of County Commissioners as the local arts agency for Flagler County. What does that mean? That just means that we can attract larger dollars to our community and disperse them among organizations that are needy. A couple years ago, we participated in Americans for the Arts and Economic Prosperity. There, the stack of data that was created for our county is this thick. I can provide it. I could have gone through all that with you, but that would have taken a couple of days. But the survey respondents in Flagler County, 68.5% of the 49,522 nonprofit arts and culture attendees were residents. 31.5% were non-resident residents who spend an average of 105% more than local attendees. You probably already know that data. So $59.19 versus the $28.70. That's really an important factor to consider when we are planning events and cultural opportunities, not only for our residents, but we want to bring in visitors and tourists to experience Flagler County, but we have to have something in which to draw them. We secured $50,000 last year to Flagler County graduating high school seniors for scholarships. We gave five $5,000 scholarships away last year and plan to do the same this year. Those are substantial gifts to students pursuing a career in the arts. We gave one away to a senior who wants to be an actor, a film director, a graphic designer, an architect, and a music educator. So you can see the broad realm of a career in the arts that these students were trying to pursue. So we're going to do the same this year. And you'd think they won the lottery. We gave them, $5,000, and they're like, oh my God. The parents were like in tears because they knew that their student might have been pursuing a career that might not be substantially economically favorable for them, but we hope that turns around. We applied for a 2026 local arts agency grant through the state. So we're hoping to get that. It passed the first round. So I'm really hoping that our state legislatures and the governor does not cut arts again. He decimated it last year. So I'm hoping that the arts aren't cut and are saved this year. We created a strategic plan to identify and drive our initiatives forward. That took a considerable amount of time this whole past year. We are a group of volunteers. And that took almost the whole year trying to develop this plan with consultants. I'll get into that a little bit later. Discussions are underway to coordinate a mural project in Bunnell, with Cisco Dean being the honoree on the mural. And Leanne Pennington, Commissioner Pennington, is driving that, so we're working on getting that up and running. Discussions are underway with Daytona State College on an oral history project for the county. The last 2 years, we hosted a high school photography contest at Creekside Festival. And we submitted just recently, we subscribed to a submittable online grant application platform. I'll go into that a little bit later as well. We continue the public art turtle trail. Now that's a huge tourism and resident favorite. I still have people coming up to me and wanting to know when the next turtle is going to be unveiled. Well, that'll be in March. I know you all know that one of our turtles was stolen. Quilty was stolen a year ago, January. And the sponsor, I went back to the sponsor. So if you ever see Bill and Pat Verhagen, thank them because they are going to replace Quilty with another turtle. So we're going to have that turtle replaced at cost. And it will be in March with the same artist, Betty Eubanks, is going to be, and she has the turtle now. So we hope that. And the other thing that we're going to do, and I'll talk about that too, is create a better map. Not only a mural and turtle trail map, but I want to include all the public art in the county. There's some really great Balliker art that needs to be highlighted on a public art trail. So, and others. But I don't want it to just be the turtles, even though they're very popular. But there's a lot of incredible art in the community that I think needs to be on a map. So we're going to make this map much bigger. We collaborated heavily this last year with the Flagler County Education Foundation on a Great Minds Summer program at Carver Center, where they took their K through 5 students on field trips to see all the turtles. Some of the turtles, not all of them, it's too many. But they saw the turtles, they went back to the classroom, they did a little project, they did a diorama, they did a report on how to take care of turtles, how to feed, what turtles eat. So there was an educational component to that, which is part of our mission on the Turtle Trail. And so as a result of that popular program over the summer, they incorporated it into a couple of the school's academic curriculum. So Old Kings Elementary now has a component of the Turtle Trail that they talk about as, so that will be expanded into other schools, so very excited about that. Another thing I'm really excited about is we've been talking with the city leaders for quite some time and trying to get them to pass an impact fee for public art, and they finally did. So we will be working with them on the ordinance on public art. They've asked us for help and advice and counsel along the way, so we'll be working with them on that. And then we have a sponsor who came forward and will help us create our first table book for, a coffee table book for the turtles, the Turtle Trail book. So volume 1 will be the first 22/23 turtles. I say slash because the new turtle being replaced is really number 23, but I think they're going to name it, call it 6.2, because Quilty was number 6. And so we want to have a story in there about the importance of public art and protecting public art. So we're prolonging the book so that we can include this turtle, which will be unveiled in March. Discussions are underway for an accompanying children's coloring activity book on the trail. It's this thing has exploded. So now there wants to be a coloring book associated with the Turtle Trail. So we're working on that as well. We are just this past week, I've been talking to Jim Sawgrass. He wants us to get involved in the Native American Festival in October. So I'm working with him on some ways in which we can partner and help promote or help with that whole festival. We have a preliminary plan to secure a performance arts event. This group of painters that travel the country, they're called Outrageous, and they're the speed painters who do those really huge mural paints. And so we're hoping to bring them in as a premier event in late 2025, and that should draw quite a significant number of outside visitors, I imagine. And we hope we will be participating in Arts Advocacy Day in March in Tallahassee. And we're working with the city too on hosting a spring and fall arts festival each year. Last fall, we had, what I'm told by the police, over 5,000 people came to the Fall Arts Festival in Town Center. So we're happy about that. We're going to do another one, I think, March 29th, and then the other one is in November. So our strategic plan boiled down to this, even though, again, the document is very long. Summarized, we came up with our 3 pillars to focus on. Pillar 1 is support, to provide financial and promotional opportunities for members and students. These are being built upon too. This is just the initial, but we're building and driving down some of these initiatives. Implement a granting program, which we have. Support arts education through scholarship, which we have. Implement out-of-market, in-market advertising programs to drive awareness and increase visibility. Our pillar 2 is all about advocacy. To maintain FC3 status as a local arts agency is really important. Regular engagement with local and state officials, so that includes all of you, our county commissioners, our city leaders, and I'd like to get Flagler Beach and Bunnell leaders involved in some of these conversations. Educate and activate the local community on advocacy issues, and to foster collaboration. Fostering collaboration, like I said, is like, working with other organizations like the Native Americans, like the historical societies, and working with them on some leadership opportunities for them. Encourage use of the master calendar that FC3 put together on their new website. Quarterly roundtable for arts and culture leaders in neighboring counties. We want to get together with some of our other arts and culture leaders like in St. John's and in Volusia County, and just kind of like talk together and see how we can cross-pollinate ideas and moving forward. Connect artists to develop new events and opportunities. So the city of Palm Coast has asked us to take over their cultural arts grant. Historically, that cultural arts grant has been dismal in funding, anywhere from like $25,000 to $35,000 to disseminate among all the needy arts not-for-profits in the community. So basically, our board, we decided that we would love to do that, and we have the ability and the knowledge to do that. But we're not going to do it for $35,000. You know, if they really want us to do it, they had to put more money into the game. So I asked them for $100,000 to start, and they granted that. So we're encourage and provide funding to community arts and culture organizations, artists, theater, film, dance, historians, and musicians for programs and events. So now they are, we requested and granted a minimum of $100,000 per year to create a robust, all-inclusive opportunity to qualified projects. Past funding has been severely deficient in providing any meaningful impact to projects. FC3 hopes to provide through this grant initiative awards of substance. Like the scholarships we gave away, we could have given a lot of scholarships for $500 each, but we wanted them to be substantial. Funding to be offset related to proposed, funding to be used to offset expenses related to proposed project. FC3 board may solicit additional expertise in grant reviews. However, the board is currently comprised of the professionals with the knowledge of such decisions. So we're hoping that this $100,000 will have significant impact on the applications that we will receive. Again, we haven't changed a whole lot on the on what we will award. But most of it will go to not-for-profits, programs and events to take place in the city of Palm Coast and local schools. And the other reason we added local schools is because some schools are in Flagler County. Events and programs to take place by September 30th. Panel review committee shall process applications through a rigorous scoring system, which we have developed. Individual artists, historians, musicians to include, but not limited to, all these listed here. We want to expand opportunities for people to do things and not limit it. So, do you have, and you know, a film festival is also in the planning stages at the moment as well. But our board has a lot going on, and like I said, we're a volunteer board, and like most of the organizations in the community. And do you have any questions of me?
Any questions?
I just got, sorry, Eric. The grant that you get in the $100,000, do you have an idea, and you may have mentioned it, and if I missed it, I'm sorry, but have an idea what you're going to do with it?
Well, it will be dispersed among the grant applications.
Okay, I gotcha. Gotcha.
I know there's a couple big festivals coming up that require substantial funding. We hope to help them. There's, you know, some of the historical societies, and you know, I mean, I know that there's a lot of people out there that need substantial gifts, substantial money. So I'm glad that they came forward and said, yes, we'll do this, and we'll parcel it out as we can, as much as we can.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy?
Yes, ma'am.
I know that the stage in Town Center was kind of destroyed, but that was a marvelous program for theater. And also the concerts in the park were also very popular there. Are you going to bring any of those back?
Funny you should mention that. Picnic and Pops has been a constant request. You know, bringing back the Jacksonville Symphony.
Right.
They won't perform without a roof. You know, you'd have to retent that, and it's not all that cheap to retent that space, but you'd have to retent it. So I'm hoping that the city that now manages that space has plans to roof it. And there is a plan. I think they are actually talking to consultants about putting a permanent roof on that stage. And then we can really program it.
Okay.
You know.
Is there any timeline that you're thinking?
Not well. I don't know. I can't even begin to guess. You know what their timeline is for that. But yes, concerts in the park over the summer have been very popular. You know, so we participated in that too at the city.
As well as the theater programs too.
Yeah, the Shakespeare in the Park, that's another thing that people want to be brought back.
Yeah.
So I would love to bring the Shakespeare in the
I
Park
hope they
back.
put the roof on soon.
Yeah, I do too.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Cooley.
I noticed on the first slide that you don't have any representatives from municipalities other than county and Palm Coast. Is that because y'all are focused more in Palm Coast?
No, Jay is actually talking to both Flagler County and Bunnell and asking them, that the vice chair, Jay Shear. And so he's working on getting Patty King, I think, involved and someone from the Bunnell administration as well. So no, he's working on that. He's having conversations with them.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Because we want to be as inclusive. We want to be inclusive.
It could
whole
just
point.
be, right, for us, it's part of our list of during reorganization. So
Assignments,
I
yeah.
don't know if within your bylaws, we're established in there and you could just expand that to the beach.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I agree. Good job. Anybody else?
And Max was unveiled at Marineland. That Max was our last turtle unveiled
That's what I was going to say.
at Marineland.
The FC3 was very gracious to repurpose a turtle that was planned for a certain business, and that business did not develop in the Palm Coast area, so they needed a place to put their turtle that they had already.
Yeah, that was TD Bank. TD Bank was going to open up in Palm Coast, and then we went through this whole process of them putting a deposit down for the turtle. I ordered the turtle, and they were sponsoring the turtle. And all of a sudden, I get a call, say, well, we kind of pulled out. We're going to go St. Johns County now. We're going to go to St. Augustine. And can we take it there? And I said, no.
Not part of Flagler County.
This is a Flagler County project. And so what I said, we can go as far north as Marineland, and that would be a great location. I know that they would love to have a turtle.
And we have a St. Augustine address, so it
Right.
helped.
So they bought into that, and so so that's where the turtle came from, still sponsored by TD Bank.
So if you have not come out to see Max, come on out and see Max.
Yeah, he greets all the visitors.
Probably would be the most appropriate location for the turtle.
I so agree. We have all those educational pieces on turtles and stuff, so.
Exactly. And go back to the turtle trail. I help me to harp on it so much, but I get lots of calls from around the state. You know, I just got a call recently, I think from Melbourne, wanting to know because they want to do something similar. New Smyrna Beach was doing something with sharks, and they wanted to know how we did it and where I got the forms from and all that. So it's known throughout the state. So it's gotten really popular.
Thinking about the trail,
You want to sponsor a turtle?
pardon me, no, I was thinking more about the connectivity and the accessibility to them as an offshoot of our trail system. So I don't know if we've done an overlay or an analysis of areas where you can connect and get to each of the turtles by walking or by biking and see if there's any deficiencies that need to be corrected.
That's a good point. I have done a couple of bike tours for the Parks and Rec Department in which we would parcel out a route to bike to certain trail turtles on, and then I'd stop and get out and talk about the turtle a little bit and get back on the bike and go to the next one. So that's kind of an interesting concept that could be
Right, you could
broadened.
market it
Right.
through the trails
Right.
and go from A to Z, and
Mhm.
and so I'd help you if there's deficiencies in that where they may not be as safe crossing roads or other
Right,
things. that-
Right, like Intercoastal Bank, for instance, has a turtle
Right.
there, and it's not, riding your bike on Palm Coast Parkway is not exactly a safe place.
Right.
Anyone else? Yes.
I appreciate the appointment. It's going to be made to Flagler Beach because that's huge for our representation. And then also, you said you're on number 23 for the turtle?
Well, it's really 23, but they're going to they're going to number it 6.2.
So would you be the next person that comes in? Would it be sponsoring number 23 or would it be number 24?
It'd be number 23. Yeah.
Well, I might have to get Oceanside involved because
Oh, there you go. I want to get the new hotel, too. The new hotel should have one, maybe a Guy Harvey turtle or something, Be
we
good.
can do some.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you.
Chair, I just would like to add, your idea is great, and I look forward to you sharing it next Wednesday at the workshop, because that's exactly what we're talking about. So that's number one, and I'll talk about that and during my update, but also kind of what Nancy touched on with the city of Palm Coast having FC3 distribute and manage $100,000 for a grant program. They have an agreement with the city of Palm Coast because these are public funds, so there are safeguards in place, and we look to be a part of that as well. And for next year's budget, and I believe they're in the final stages of fleshing out the criteria, but once they get that set up and demonstrate that they are good stewards of the grant program, typical grant applications that you see come before you through the special event marketing grant, we would take an average. So let's say it's $30,000 a year we typically see that are for events that qualify in that arts and culture history category. We then would seek to do the same type of agreement that Palm Coast did, so that truly all arts, culture, history, activities, events, efforts are all funneled completely through FC3s. Because what we're starting to find is that if we don't do that, then organizations are dipping in different pots. They're coming to the same, and that was kind of one of the purposes of FC3, is so that there's one unified organization that is the umbrella for all organizations. So that's something that we're looking forward to as well. And, it just further gives incentive for folks to join FC3, because this is where everything will live. So Nancy's done a great job, and it's like she said, they've done a lot of work with volunteers. So kudos to them.
If I could add, what is the cost of the sponsorship for the Turtle? The overall
5,000.
Okay. Right. Okay, so we couldn't hear all that on the recording, but $5,000 is the
25 deposit, and then 25.
Okay, great. Thank you.
2,500, not 25.
Great report. Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate that. So we'll move on to general business, Fund 1110, fiscal year 25 discretionary event funding.
None.
There's no report?
There are no requests this meeting.
Okay. And then we'll move to the quarterly marketing report update with Courtney.
And we have some stuff here, so not a none here. Okay, good morning. We're just going to recap some of what our team has been working on over the last quarter. So in October, we focused on fall fun by highlighting events like the Witches, Flagler Beach Bike Ride, and Biketoberfest. And we highlighted those across our blogs, the newsletter, and social media.
Courtney, can you pull the mic a little closer?
Can you hear me now?
I'm struggling over here to hear.
Can you hear me now?
There you
okay,
go.
I can hear me now. Angie put together a post highlighting top spots for bikers to stop for lunch with a focus on tacos. And then we had a blog post that included a roundup of fun fall events, and that was one of the top 2 blog posts in October. So people are looking for things to do. In November, our content was centered on Veterans Day and Thanksgiving. We did a roundup of all the partners that offered discounts for Veterans Day. And according to our Google Analytics, it was the 3rd most popular blog in November. So visitors and locals were definitely using it as a resource. We also focused on Thanksgiving getaways to entice people to take advantage of the long holiday weekend. We highlighted where to eat for Thanksgiving, and that was the most popular blog post that month with over 1,200 engaged sessions. Additionally, we shared a blog post for National Sandwich Day, and Angie highlighted Holland Park with a really fun reel, and we'll watch that now. And if you're wondering why we featured the splash pad in November, it was because it just reopened. So, and it's a popular spot. So Angie went out and got some new content for us. And in December, we focused on holiday-related content. One of the top blogs was the Where to Meet Santa feature. And another top blog centered on the holiday boat parade. That's always a top blog. Angie also put together a social post that highlighted activity-based gift ideas, like tickets to Marineland or making pottery at Down to Earth Pottery. And then she also featured a roundup highlighting several different accommodators for those who wanted to get away for the holidays. And now we're going to highlight just some. This is just a sample. We have so much more that's running right now, but we wanted to highlight just some of our ads that are currently running or slated to run. And again, this is on top of, we have numerous digital ads that are live right now. But we've got a Southern Living, Midwest Living e-newsletter ad that is set to start running over the next few months, as well as a full-page ad in Undiscovered Florida. That's the one in the middle. I don't know if you're familiar with Undiscovered Florida. It's a print and digital magazine that showcases Florida's unique activities to readers and travelers. And then on the far right, we also have an eTarget Media e-blast that deploys several times over the next few months, targeting couples. And so you'll see it's a couple on the beach instead of families. We kind of switch it out for the winter. And then, okay. We also, the 2025 Visit Florida Guide was recently released. We have a full page ad there. And also, speaking of the turtle trail, there's also a little mention of the turtle trail with a photo of a turtle included too in the guide. So be sure you can go on to Visit Florida's website and download the digital copy and flip through it. And it's pretty cool to see the turtle in there and our ad. And then finally, be sure to check out the February issue of Evolve magazine for a print ad that highlights the economic impact of tourism in Flagler County. And then additionally, Evolve's website will have a banner ad promoting local events, and then users will be directed over to our events calendar. And finally, our ad agency, Aqua, has worked tirelessly to pull together our fiscal year 23-24 report. The 20-page annual report includes key visitation and economic impact data, a spread on the future visitor Eco Discovery Center, and then an outline on how our TDC funds are invested. And we look forward to sharing this booklet in its entirety with you soon. And they're also, Aqua's also working still on our visitor guide, and you can see we're also going to have some new brochures updated, and those are the cover and a potential spread there on the right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Courtney? I have one observation, because marketing is done through so many different media now. I find a unique reel, or through Facebook, there's a gentleman that does, I think it's called Undiscovered Florida. And maybe it's just because of my algorithm that I've watched one of them through from beginning to end now. They keep popping up, and they're very unique. They did one on Marco Polo Park, which was interesting and got shared locally a little bit because of the history there. But I don't know how they pick things up or the opportunities to reach out and offer content is the only thing I'm thinking, because I have no idea the market share, how far the reach is, but it came across my path.
And we do work, as far as PR with Visit Florida. We host FAM tours and send out, Visit Florida does little requests, editorial requests, and so we pitch to them, and they disseminate that information out too. So that could be how somebody found out, or just process like that.
Okay.
They also find a lot of their content and information just from tourism board websites, because they're constantly looking for content, and
Right.
it's essentially free to them. So not all the time, but a lot of times it's just luck of the draw.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you for the report. And we'll move on to department updates and presentations. So the Tourism Department office update, Ms. Lukasik.
Thank you. Commissioner Cooley, I'm glad you're here today because this is your favorite report. This is our fiscal year 24 arrival list information. And as a reminder, what this software, what this program does, this is essentially cell phone data that is collected and tells us a little bit about what people are doing here in the county, where they come from, how long they're staying, and where they're visiting. So it gives us a lot of information to help make decisions. This is the methodology. The green is the trip, is for TRIP, which is the travelers, aka visitors. And the blue is the local methodology. So here's the parameters of what determines a local versus a visitor. Local, they have to live within 50 miles of the point of interest. They have to stay a certain amount of time within the county. So that helps filter out what determines. All right, so for fiscal year 24, broken down by month, this was the average overnight length of stay. It did increase 5% to an average of 2.9 nights compared to 2023. The average overnight length of stay peaked in the spring and also stayed pretty consistent during the summer, which is no surprise to the hoteliers. 27% of overnight stays were comprised of 4 or more stays. This is where people are coming from. The top 10 origin states to Flagler County are, of course, in-state, Florida, then Georgia, New York, South Carolina, North Carolina. The newest one that was a surprise, that it keeps peaking a little bit or gaining, is California. So the top origin states, as typical, are usually east of the Mississippi, along the East Coast. So this time it's the exception of California, which saw continued gain over last year. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Here's the top visitation by DMA. As always, Orlando, that Central Florida market is our number one, then Jacksonville, New York, Tampa, St. Pete, Miami. New York is the top out-of-state DMA. It continues to see growth in share year over year, but travelers coming from Orlando, we've seen the largest gain in share. As a county, these were the designated top points of interest, so the top 10 most visited points of interest. They showcase a mixture of accommodations, parks, beaches, and golf courses, which highlight the variety of activities that are here in our community. Downtown Flagler Beach is the most visited point of interest for out-of-state visitors, narrowly taking over first place Hammock Beach Resort. So downtown Flagler Beach is essentially the CRA It is the streets. It's not the beach. It's not the boardwalk. They are their own separate point of interest. This is the downtown shopping and eating area, both for the north and south. So no surprise, our accommodations, this is where it's collecting the highest visitor visits, Hammock Beach Resort, and then we group all the highway hotels together. In our contract, we can only have so many points of interest. So in some cases, we collect like product together. So the golf courses, except for Hammock Beach Resort, are all one point of interest because that is what helps us see the golf product. We're not as concerned of where they're golfing necessarily. It's that golf is of an interest. So the Highway Hotel, the European Village, and Legacy Vacation, and that tropical kayak, that park, St. Joe Park, that's kind of one cluster too, because we feel a lot of times people may cross over in each one of those points of interest in that area. All right. So this is the points of interest broken down of visitor versus local visitation. So when local visitation is taken into consideration, golf courses are the most visited point of interest. Since local residents have far easier access, these areas often, it's logical to see that that's where they would go. The Flagler Beach Boardwalk is popular with both locals and visitors, showing a nearly split in visitation share. So you'll see the visitors is yellow and the locals are blue. Okay, drum roll. Beach access points of interest. So here you can see the number one for visitors is 16th Street Beach, which if you don't know where that's at, that's also known as Old Salt Park, and that's right at the Hammock Beach Resort. So that makes sense because if you go back, most of the visitors, Hammock Beach Resort. And then the state parks are second between Washington Oaks and Gamble Rogers. And so out of curiosity, I went back 2 more years that I could from when we started working with Arrivalist to see any difference. Last year, it was pretty much the same data and the year before. So for the past 3 years, the 16th Street Beach Access Point was number 1 in visitor share, and Washington Oaks and Gamble Rogers, they've either flip-flopped between 2 and 3. Those are the 3 beach access points that show over 50% of the people that are visiting those beaches are visitors, travelers.
Is there opportunity for a question on that?
Yeah, there's opportunity.
Okay.
Yes.
So you went back, but I don't know, I can't make the connection from, like, it would be interesting to know which locations are gaining interest over others over time. So,
Flagler Beach. So Flagler Beach this year was at 47% visitors. The year before they were at 40, and then the year before that they were at 39. They had the biggest gain.
Okay. Because I know we've talked about pushing visitors or other access to other parts to even it out. So it would be neat to see if there's a progression.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly one of the reasons that was so appealing to us is because we could track our results. So as we continue to do marketing campaigns and promotions and all the things for ecotourism to not only bring them to the northern beaches, but also put them more inland, then we use this data to help track our efforts. It's not 100% perfect, but it is a data point that can help tell the story and guide us.
Is this annual or biannual?
The vendor does the report for us annually. They put this together for me, but we have access to the data every day, so we can go in and...
And you add points of interest. They don't pop up because of a
Correct.
popularity.
correct. Yep,
So we won't know like the tennis center
right.
or
We'll s-
trailheads unless
right.
you actually added them.
Trailheads, I was thinking about this. So we will have to add the trailheads, but here's where it gets tricky. The shortest amount of time that we could tell the software is 5 minutes. Someone has to be in a location for a minimum of 5 minutes. So when I think about the trailheads, right, they park, so I could draw the perimeter around the parking lot and the bathrooms. But then what happens is they take their phone through the trail, and then we lose that data. So I haven't yet figured out just on my end, but it is a conversation for them, because it would be nice to be able to track that, but they have to be able to stay,
Well, I'll walk 5 minutes from the parking lot and you'll get your radius. 'Cause
Sample set of
slow.
one.
I'm slow though.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the bike would be different if they get, although those typically are the dismounting if they've carried them there. But
Yeah, and I don't know if it's enough data, because this is only a sample set of
Yeah.
all the millions and thousands of cell phones that are out there. They only have access to it, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So these were just some of the bulleted point highlights. Fiscal year 24 showcases another strong year of visitation. New York continues to lead the top state, with other major metro areas like Atlanta and Washington, D.C. The variety found in the top 10 visited points of interest showcase numerous activities that draw visitors to our community, with nearly 9 out of 10 of those visitors spending at least one night in the destination. So it helps showcase the different behaviors and preferences that people, we are able to seek what they call cross-visitation, and this is getting really in the weeds, but we're able to even see like 16th Street. We can pull that point of interest, and then we can even filter down, well, those folks that went to 16th Street, what else did they do in the county? And there's really no big surprises. It's all the typical. And we see that from the top two, number 1 and number 2 points of interest. So we've got Hammock Beach Resort and the Highway Hotels. Both of those, the downtown Flagler Beach. So, and that's important, because it's part of a bigger understanding and conversation. So it's the story that we all rely on each other to be successful. We need good hotel products, but the hoteliers need good product, good business, good restaurants, a good walkable community, activities, calendar of events, so that people do want to come and stay in their hotels. So we rely on each other to be successful. All right, and that continues that annual report. One second.
So I saw where you have even distribution of golf, resort, beach. Just curious as to where you can get all 3 of those in one spot.
It rhymes with hammock. Yes, we take the conservatory golf course and the ocean course, and we make that all Hammock Beach Resort product, because the people that are staying at the resort are going to that golf course. Okay, my next update is, so as you may or may not know, the county continues to have discussions of figuring out the long-term funding plan for beach renourishment. And that continues to be ongoing. The county right now is continuing to explore different funding sources. And of course, the tourism tax is part of those discussions and source of funding. So in the very near future, the county will likely, when they're ready, will be ready to have a joint workshop with the TDC to discuss our beach funding and the overall plan. So I wanted to kind of get from everyone. Typically, the county commissioners, they have workshops on Monday afternoon. So I wanted to see if, for the most part, if that worked for people's schedule. I know it could depend what Monday it is, remains to be seen. We'll give plenty of notice. Or if Monday afternoons were not an option for you guys. So because we want as many of you there as possible to be part of this conversation. Okay. So in the meantime, if there's any specific questions, information, data, and you have time to kind of think about it and what that means, just let me know and I'll make sure we have all that for you, your questions ahead of time for the day we have that joint workshop.
Amy, since we last talked, I did speak with the administrator, and the meeting date in April is not too far off for budgeting purposes. So it's an option is to schedule back-to-back meetings so we can take advantage of you being away from your businesses only once.
Okay. Yeah, that would be good. So
Just have to poll the other board members to see if they're available and if that's an option. But we could do that in theory and save everybody some time.
Oh, that'd be great. So we could kill two birds with one stone. We could have our April meeting. We'll only put on the agenda what's absolutely necessary, any funding approvals, and then jump right into the joint workshop. Okay. Thank you for that update.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The next thing I wanted to give you an update on and talk about is our strategic plan. And most of you were a part of that back in late 2019. And I'm just going to give you a refresher because that seems like so long ago. But we had the strategic plan adopted in November of 2019. Then we got to work at the first of the year, and we were moving right along. And then, bam, COVID happened, and it really set us back on not all, but a lot of the bigger initiatives. So our strategic plan probably extended a year and a half longer than it was originally intended. But I really don't look at the dates as much as are we making progress toward each of the goals and objectives we were given. So we're coming up, in my opinion, in the strategic plan where we're ready to wrap this up. Either the items are complete or they're no longer applicable because of the circumstance or situation, or it's something that will likely continue to roll over into the next strategic plan, or it's an item that is ready to be discussed again because maybe how it was written on paper now, it may not be exactly the same, but a version of it. So, and I have those kind of marked so that when we do go through that exercise again, we can talk about those. But probably the two biggest things that are ready to be rolled over and really given more attention are under the destination development pillar is these two objectives right here. So the continued focus on ecotourism, we've done a little bit, but we really are ready to take it to the next level, and I think this can be kind of broken out even further. Everything else, arts and culture, we've gone through the exercise of a sports feasibility study, so we have a lot of that data and information of what type of facilities and type of sports that bring in the highest ROI. So we do have a resource for that when making decisions. Under visitor experience, this is again under arts and culture, that a lot of that has been done through FC3. Sustainability of the beaches, that's the continuing to put revenues toward beach renourishment, Dodge the Dunes. This is one that got tabled. This is another section that was no longer applicable. It wanted us to work more with our economic development department and help target groups that are Economic Development Department. This just looks different now, so it's not applicable. It's not that it's not happening, but it just looks different. Under organizational excellence, this is where we kind of had to do a lot of cleanup and assigning job responsibilities. We also redid our grant programs for both the special event and capital projects so that we saw a higher ROI. The visitor center, getting working groups together, how to incorporate businesses and have it beyond just a visit information distribution. So we think we've accomplished that through our research and plan with that. Expand community outreach. This is for the most part done, but this is always ongoing. We're never done educating about what we do. This is when we had to reassign job responsibilities to help us accomplish the strategic plan and establishing our core values, our mission statement, our vision, determine what could be outsourced or stay in-house. We've done all this. So again, there's just a few loose things. And so this process is lengthy because if you remember, it takes a few months because you do surveys. There's different types of outreach and groups that are brought in. So I have that in one side of my brain. The other side of my brain is we have another need, and we need a tourism master plan and sustainability plan. And to help clarify what I mean by each one of those, the master plan focuses more on long-term physical development, the bigger picture vision for tourism within Flagler County and what that looks like. It's typically a 10-year plan. Strategic plan focuses more on the shorter term, typically in our case, 3 years, and it helps identify the strategies to reach the master plan vision. So these can be costly. So I was trying to figure out, because I want them both, we need them both, but how can we do it in the most cost-efficient way? I believe in my research, I can find a vendor, probably more than one vendor. What I'm looking for is an overall master and sustainability plan, and then from that, we'll be able to extract the 3-year smaller strategic plan. And that way, again, we kind of kill two birds with one stone. But I've pulled a few master plans because some folks may not be familiar. This was one I really liked because they incorporated the strategic plan into their master plan. Boom. And it gives you global travel and tourism trends. It gives you data. The residents are involved, the businesses, all the stakeholders. And it again talks about what does tourism look like for our entire county in 10 years? And where are we going to put these products and these assets to help, again, push people out and spread them more evenly throughout the community. So this is just one example. I think I had another one. This one was another one that I liked from Oceanside, California, because they included a sustainable component into theirs. So I felt that that was something that I want us to have, because that's very important to our community, that we have, environmentally responsible travelers. We're educating them and protecting our tourism assets. So we did put money in the budget this fiscal year. So I just did want to give you that update and get any feedback. And I've written probably half of the, it's called an RFP, request for proposals. So we kind of write out the scope of work of, hey, consultants, this is what we want the final product to contain. You know, this sustainability feature, we want you to have public outreach and surveys and all the things. And then we put it out in the universe, and then we get proposals back, committees formed, and then they're ranked, and it goes through the county's procurement process that way. So I did just want to kind of, one, share with you, we are ready to wrap up our strategic plan and kind of go into the next phase of planning. Any questions on that?
Questions on the master plan process or combining the two?
Trying to squeeze those dollars.
All right, looks good. I'm on board.
Great. And what I hope to see out of it is it'll help guide our resources and our funding, where to put our dollars, where to put our time. And the strategic plan will give us that more day-to-day direction. And it helps us, some of you know, some of you may not know, but probably every other week at least, we are contacted by a variety of folks. It could be organizations, government entities, residents, and everyone has an idea, and they want us to help them with that. And sometimes it fits into our mission and our vision and our strategic plan, and sometimes it's way out of the box and out of our realm of what we should be doing. So having those documents help us in saying, you know, let's see if this fits. We are also going to have, I'll call it like a vetting sheet, so that when we do get these thoughts and ideas, we can do a better job of tracking, because they're starting to come a lot. People have problems, they see funding, they have an idea, usually not really much of a plan behind their idea. Hey, we want to do this. Will you help fund it? So the vetting sheet, and part of that will be, you know, does this fit into our strategic plan? And maybe it's just something that is put on a shelf for the time being. But anyway, it helps us filter out a lot of those requests that come our way. And, you know, kind of along those lines, not to get too far off topic, but this is like Amy's TED Talk, since we don't have a big agenda, is that what I sometimes will have a conversation with folks and remind them, way back when, 7 years ago, when the bed tax was first created, the hoteliers, the accommodations, they agreed to impose this tax on their guest, and they need to see the direct benefit from it, which is the foundation of the bed tax is marketing and promotion of tourism into your community. They want to see that this X amount of dollars that I've put on my guest and have put in the TDC fund, I'm going to see a return. The other side of that, kind of back to what I was saying about we all rely on each other. And I know Shelley Edmondson's been asked this question before. We get asked it, is that folks want to know how much does Hammock Beach Resort pay in bed tax? How much does Hampton Inn pay in bed tax? How much comes from Palm Coast? How much comes from Flagler Beach? And as the director, that's not how we make decisions. We make decisions based on the data and the best return on investment, and so that we all are successful. And so it's important to me that we never start making decisions in that sense, because that's when we get further away from the whole foundation and purpose of the bed tax. So I just that's kind of what I remind people of, because we do get asked these types of questions. When we are going to make marketing campaigns or efforts. We're not saying, oh, it's time to put some more money into Palm Coast or specifically the Hilton Garden Inn. We target, just like golf courses, we target golf. We don't say we're targeting only one golf course. It's all, because when one succeeds, we all succeed. And I think I overheard even Stephen and Lisa. Lisa had a great December. Stephen, not so much. So it's not always a one size fits all. It depends on the market, the time of year, what's happening. So those are the variables we take into account when we make decisions and where we put our money. So that was my TED Talk for the day. The update on the Eco Center, we had a few new updates since we met last. We are currently right now under an RFQ. We are only seeking qualified possible vendors to do the project, and that takes a few weeks, and we're going to eventually have a committee that will select 3 possible, and then it'll go back out for RFP looking for ideally 1. This is a long process, but we are starting to seek those vendors out. Also, thank you to Chairman Dance, because the County Commission this year decided they're funding legislative priorities, and at the last 11th hour, Commissioner Dance brought the rest of the commission on board to add this project to the funding request. We are only requesting $3 million. A lot of the feedback we get from the state, if you're not aware, a lot of the money has
Dried up.
Yeah, is what? Dried up.
up.
Yeah. There's no longer the federal money that's coming from post-COVID. And so they were really looking for projects that also had a match. So our match is $10.3 million. So that was really increased our chances. Also, because the center is centered around the trails and conservation, that is also a priority of the state. So we kind of fit in line with that. And also Northeast Florida Regional Council, that's with them as well. And that's why we're looking for the center to be a regional destination for trails and ecotourism activities. And speaking of trails, next Wednesday, we will be hosting Northeast Florida Regional Council. They are going around to all the counties and having a trails workshop. And we will be looking to develop itineraries. So that's when I was kind of teasing Commissioner Dance about the Turtle Trail. That'd be a perfect time to do that. So eventually, the Northeast region wants to be able to connect all the trails and it be kind of branded that we are known for ecotourism in Northeast Florida. And then another update is this past Monday, the County Commission signed their side of the funding agreement with the City of Flagler Beach. They signed the agreement last month. So I will have that in the backup for April's meeting for you just to see, but pretty much what was presented to you and voted on, there were no changes, is what's in the agreement. And then also in our April meeting is when they'll share their first quarterly report. So that'll be in the backup. Probably won't have much discussion, won't be much, to show then, but it'll be there for backup. And then the last thing I had was just to remind everyone, in 2 weeks, as we have our annual tourism meeting, we're going to unveil a lot of economic impact numbers. Like Courtney showed, we have an annual report book that will be a good takeaway for all of our data, and we'll have industry awards, and then Chad Crawford will be the guest speaker. He's the host of the previous TV show How to Do Florida, and he has a new series now called Protecting Our Paradise. He's a pretty well-known Florida ambassador, so he's going to talk a lot about how we can still thrive economically and also protect our paradise. and how they can all live in harmony. So we look forward to that, and I think almost all of you have RSVP'd. We're close to about 85 attendees now. We'll probably get around 110, 120. So Oceanside will be the lunch, so we're excited. Thank you, Johnny, for helping us make that happen. So look forward to seeing everyone, and that concludes my update.
All right, great. Thank you. Questions for Ms. Lukasik? All right, very good. Moving right along. I'll open this up for community outreach. Seeing no one approach, we'll bring it back to the board, and we'll take board member comments. So, Ms. Robinson, would you like to start off?
Would. Hello, everybody. Happy 2025. So I like to just piggyback a little bit off of Amy. Thank you for that wonderful Horizon report that you now give us. It's just some of the things that that we're thinking, and it's proven on paper there that when people come off the highway and then we send them to the beach, we all work together so that we want to make sure that all our product is good. Not so much, we're not thinking so much about the bed tax and the return on it. It's just, as a person that lives here, I want to be proud of this area, and so when people come to my home, I'm hospitable, so I want to make sure that they go to places that I like. A side note, I never knew that park was called Old Sart Park, but I used to go there anyway. I didn't know the name of it, so for him. But we saw these things increase this year. So when you get the next report, it's going to be even more, because from November to December, I don't know what happened, but everybody loved it here. And it's a result of the stuff being on the website, when we're here, everybody being nice to everybody, and us selling each other. So a lot of things are still the same. The people find us off the highway by accident, or they're coming here to buy a house. That's still a big thing, Commissioner Dance. Everybody's buying a house. So when they get here, we send them to the local flavors and the things that we like. I have all this TDC stuff up on my, it comes up in the room. So we have all this stuff on our internal website, and so we're promoting each other. And when they go there, they like it. The thing that I was told in November and December, I saw an upswing of people. They were going on cruises, but they were staying close here. They weren't going to Europe. They're going on cruises. For some reason, we're on some list at Disney that stop at Palm Coast, exit because it's family friendly. And that is really what's selling us. We are family friendly. So people are coming with all these kids. And if they come from up north, they don't care if it's 25 degrees. They want to go down to that beach, look at that water, and probably get in it. So that we had so many people going to the beach, and they had all these little kids. All of them had 4.5 kids, and they sold out the hotel like almost every day. It was crazy. And they got good service at the beach. Like, everything was good. And they had a few little things. They went to the movies and all that in Palm Coast, but they really, really want to just go 3 miles quickly and want to have a drop-off before they get on a boat with a bunch of screaming kids or wherever they're going. So, you know, everybody give themselves a round of applause. We wrapped up 2024 with a bang. I mean, because everybody, and they told me that they came here last year. So that first report we just saw, oh, we came back because we were here last year and we liked the beach. We can't go to Daytona because we might get murdered. And that's what people were saying. Wow. They don't want to bring their kids there. I'm not, no shade. That's what they were saying to me. So that's what they said. Because there was so many people that I had to go engage the people and, you know, find out why they're here and try to send them everywhere that I knew so that we all can eat at the table. You know, so I'm sorry, Stephen. I paid your bed tax for you. Don't worry. But the highway matched who's going downtown, because when they ask where a downtown is, we don't have one except Flagler Beach. So we have to send them to the closest downtown. So that's that one. So, so we look forward to a fruitful 2025, and the trend is still going. I don't know where all these people are going, but I still keep seeing them with little kids. I guess everybody's homeschooled, and it's really working out that they're finding this little hidden gem here off these 3 exits. They are finding it here, they're finding it safe, and they're liking it here. And what happens with people is they make memories. So they want to, when they're raising those little kids, they go to the place that's safe for the kids. And so that's another thing that we can be proud of, that it's safe here for the kids, and they are really starting to like coming here. You know, they were a little funny with the pricing, but hey, they worked it out. So that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Baker.
Yes, sir. It's tough to follow that one, Chairman. But we had our best group year we've had since we opened in 2004. And so leisure is struggling right now, and they're trying to, every ad campaign that's worked in the past is not working right now. So they're trying everything, every avenue you can imagine. So they're working on that. Thanksgiving, Christmas buffets, off the chart, very good. And so for December, ours, we kind of look at quarterly, but we finished 15% in group over same time last year. So it was good. Our star reports, we go up against a lot of properties with much larger meeting space. We got about 12,000. They'll have 60,000, Omni Amelia 110. So we compete with those guys, but man, it's just trying to find the right group for the right fit for us is what we've been working on. Looking forward to the meeting on the 29th. We got everybody from the resort going, so looking forward to that. Great presentation. Great job, you and Courtney and Angie. Thank y'all on there. And there was one other thing I thought I had, but I don't. Getting too old, Chairman. But if I remember it, I'll interrupt Eric or something like that. Yeah, that's it, man. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Ms. Walker.
Well, I'd just like to say that the American Society of Travel Agents is coming to Hammock Beach Resort in February, which is a very exciting thing because we get agents from all over the country to come to our area. So put on your best face. They're going to be here for the weekend. I think they're coming in
That's
Friday.
right. Yep.
And then they'll spend the weekend here. So I'm excited about that. I also wanted to advise you all that the TSA has just come out with a memorandum that as of May 7th of this year, you must have the real ID, which is your driver's license has to have a little star on it, and you have to have it to get on an airplane or in any federal building. It doesn't qualify for this building because, of course, we're not a federal building. However, people need to be aware of that, and it's often ignored. So if you or anybody you know plans to get on an airplane, they better have one of these or they're not getting on that airplane as of May. So, or if you go to Washington, D.C., not either. Aside from that, I hate to tell you, but cruises are going crazy. And so crazy that a lot of the cities in Europe are not allowing the cruise ships to port. So that's a good thing, because maybe people get tired of cruises and come here instead. That's it.
All right. Commissioner Cooley.
All right, so before y'all were talking about this joint workshop with TDC and County Commission, and the importance of presence and working out a date and everything. One of the things though I did want to talk about is you just got done doing the arrivalist presentation and talking about how critical it is to use data to make decisions. So this workshop's going to be a bunch of politicians in there fighting over funding, which you have 100 different angles when it comes to politicians and funding. And for Chair Dance and Ms. Lukasik, I think it's super important to come with a lot of arrivalist data, because who is using the beach is the shareholders. So who's using it? Where are they from? I worry that, potentially it could have a significant impact on tourism, TDC funding. There could be folks out there that think that there's more tourists on the beach than there actually is, and therefore will want a disproportionate amount of funding to come from tourism. The other side is, there could be the swing the other way where a disproportionate amount of funding comes from locals. But without that data, there's no intelligent decision that can be made. And that arrivalist data that y'all got is probably priceless. It is, I would say that, the best bang for all dollars, because that data that's in Arrivalist drives everything. But just for all the members that are going to be at that workshop, looking at that type of data and help steering squirrely politicians, I think will have a big impact on this group and just the county as a whole. And I think that just talking about it and making sure that's a focus is a big deal. That's all I got.
Thank you. Mr. Loucheray.
I hope us as a board, to back up what Eric was saying, protect our strategic plan, our long-term plan, and I think we are the most experienced when it comes to making some of these decisions, specifically for the tourism board, because a lot of us have served on for over a decade, or half a decade, I would say, 5-6 years. With it being said, I put my Flagler Beach Business Bureau president hat on. A lot of us restaurants, specifically restaurants, have the same problems during the same time of year, and we're just trying to battle it with the feds increasing our labor, or the state increasing our labor every year for tipped and non-tipped. That is our biggest crux. I mean, that's just for me, $60,000 to $70,000 increase every year that I have to figure out where to make that money from. And it's really hitting home because normally what most of us businesses try to do is, hey, we reserve some money through the bigger months of the year for us, which allows us to carry more staffing for this 2 or 3 month window that most of us take a pretty severe hit. And then all of a sudden you have to increase your staffing by 20 to 30% to make, to keep your business where it needs to be, right? And we just noticed that with the government getting involved more in our business, it's making it more difficult. And what I'm seeing is more of a decline in our customer service and in our skills. There's a lot more major corporations coming into our area. There's a lot more jobs that just have been created, which is good, but then also we're pulling from a very limited amount of staff. And, you know, this might be something that we talk about in the strategic plan and how we can help our labor market, or what we can do to, you know, alleviate some of these problems that they're constantly reoccurring. But man, when the government continues to get involved in our business, it just makes it more difficult. So we then rely on the government to find us or help us with a solution. So I'm hoping that if any of us have some of these labor issues, that we talk more collectively about it. Because as I just got back from an amazing trip in Telluride, Colorado, man, the customer service and the quality and the skills over there were just unmatched. And I try to understand and take away what they're doing there and why, and how can we bring it here. So these are just things that I'd love to talk about more, and appreciate everyone here.
Thank you, sir. It's good.
Just following up on all of you, the labor force is hard, especially during these slow times for most of us. I guess the highway is pretty busy, but down in the northern point or southern point, not so much. The state increase yearly is hurting the private businesses, and there's no way to battle it because it's mandated, you know, which means you and I keep less core because we're having to pay them more. So then when spring break comes and you need to be full out, you don't have the staff you need because you lost it cutting back. That's just a real issue with, I would think, every business that's in our area. So finding a way to combat that. Johnny had mentioned businesses sharing employees during this slower time so that we're keeping them at least in the area to be full-time when we're very busy. The housing is so expensive that that's what kills our area as far as getting employees, is they can't afford the housing. There's really no housing around us, so they're either housing in St. Johns County or in Flagler County, and they're having to drive over a bridge that costs money to get there. And if you're not driving over that bridge from Flagler County, then you're driving over several bridges, one of which could be a toll bridge, or what are those called? A drawbridge, that then eats up your time. So the labor force is hurting because they can't afford to live. It's just that simple. They cannot afford to live. I think I heard that eggs have gone up a dollar even. So they're like $4 and something now because of the bird flu. And that's just more money that's coming out of their pockets that they aren't making and can't afford. So I think the labor force for our area is the biggest concern because businesses cannot stay in business if they don't have the labor. I don't know what we as a tourism board can do, but definitely communicating with our other boards, the county board, the city boards, that it's got to be fixed. We got to figure it out, somehow figure it out. And that would then help all of us as we depend on the tourist tax money to help all of us. So other than that, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025. And unlike Lisa, I'm glad November and December are gone. So ready to move on.
Thank you very much. Just a few points to close on. Again, want to thank everybody for being here and for contributing to the organization, that you all are dedicated to the mission, and I appreciate that. Want to go over a few things that do tie in with tourism but are from the county side. Commissioner Cooley's brainchild pops its head up again on February 5th, and that's the joint workshop between the county government and the different municipalities. So a lot of important topics. The agenda is going to have the beach issues. So before it even comes to us in April, there'll be some discussions about that. Stormwater, impact fees, and the annexation development issues as they affect all of the entities. So this is a good opportunity to have discussions about how these things impact all of us. So again, kudos, Mr. Cooley. We continue with your mission. The county has 2 boards that need members. You guys are doing a great job. This isn't trying to recruit you all, but you know people out in the community. So first off is the Industrial Development Authority Board that the county created. And real quick, the purpose of the IDA is to issue tax-exempt bond financing for certain economic development projects within Flagler County. So, the goals are to diversify and enhance the tax base to improve the local economy and develop competitive advantages for new and existing businesses. So under that guise, we are out recruiting members. There'll be a public meeting on February 6th, and that is about the mission. Right, I think there'll be more information on that, but I know I see in the press release that February 6th was identified as an informational meeting on the IDA. And then the airport master plan is coming up. So every so often, just like your master plan, the airport is putting together a master plan. And we're not bringing back the advisory board, but we're bringing back a working group that will help the consultant go through issues that concern the airport and growth of the airport. It was announced at the last BOCC meeting, there's certain target areas that we're looking for, some airport-related expertise, but others in commercial real estate or planning. So if you, again, are out there talking to people, these are 2 really important committees, working groups that are important to what we're trying to do with the commission, and the best and most experienced people, we would love to have them apply and be able to put them on the list. I think that does it for me. I was, out of the public comments, I was intrigued that Ms. Robinson notes that without even trying, we're on a list of potential Disney cruise stops or places to stop on their way to the cruise port, which is fascinating to me. But I guess that's the part of all the good work that everybody's doing, right? To create a high quality of life and a safe environment for everybody, and it bleeds out into recommendations like that.
It was a former TDC member, Mr. Crab, who got us on that years ago. When
Very
he
good.
first came GM, he got us on some list. Don't ask me, because I don't know how to get us off, but I'm happy we're on it. And they tell us that, oh yeah, you're on the list, that this place is family friendly places to stop. So still kudos to Ryan, wherever he is, because he did that.
Very good. All right, that's all I have. Thank you very much. Any other final comments? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you very much. Great meeting.